Hey guys, and today I thought I would answer one of the questions. I feel really nervous and I don't actually know why, because it's literally just me. My dad's downstairs on calls, he's working from home today. But I'm just sat here talking to a camera and for some reason I feel really weird about it, excuse me. Today I thought I would answer one of the questions that I actually got on my Q&A post on my Instagram, and it was, why did you decide to become a curve model? Now, those of you that have been following me for ages will know that I signed to a women's agency aged 12. I stayed there for a few years and did some test shoots, built up my portfolio, built up a little bit of confidence so that when I started working in school holidays and stuff like that, when I was a bit older, having moved to another agency, I knew what I was doing, I could be professional and I could be confident in, I know how the industry works and all of that kind of stuff. I've been with several different agencies and all of them have been different and all of them have provided me with some excellent opportunities in my career. And being self-employed, it's always up and down. It's a very competitive industry to work in, full stop. That being whether you are a session stylist for hair, whether you're a photographer, whether you're a plus size model, whether you're catwalk model. It's a very competitive industry, even for stylists and makeup artists and all that kind of stuff. And I had a few really good years. And I had a few years where, yes, I was working, but I wasn't particularly happy. And although at the time I might not have realised it, I was kind of putting this, yes, my career is great and doing a few YouTube videos on it and, what I do for a living. And for the most part, I love my job, but it is an industry where I did the hardest bit of growing up, which is your teenage years, in an industry that makes you very aware of your body and how you look. As much as I have always been surrounded by family that are really supportive and friends that are really supportive and that, now don't make jokes about, oh, it's all right for you because you look at, if I'm having a bad day or whatever. We've spoken about stuff like this before. They're very understanding of actually it's not as glamorous as it looks. Sometimes it's really hard to hear things that are said about you when people think you can't hear them, and you're changing in the room next door, or it's, it's a mixture. There have been some really, really great times and some really not so nice times. And I found that through, when I started working full time, I was very tiny. I am 5'10", 5'10 and a half. That is several inches taller than the majority of women on the planet. I am a tall woman. And I started my career as someone who was very tall already and very slim. To the point where I was probably a size 8, which on someone my height looks really quite skinny. And I had always been that way, and that was fine. As I got into working, I feel like because I was already slim and I started working, there was a bit of a push to, can she be slimmer? I remember getting hauled into the kitchen in a particular agency, and there was one particular booker who absolutely, and I'm not going to be naming any names here or saying which agencies or whatever, where it got to the point where I was so small and I was asked to be smaller that it was making me fucking miserable. And it was making me see things in the mirror that weren't even there. Like, I was skin and bone. Like, I will try and pull some pictures from my Instagram. Now, for you guys who had already followed me back then, you will see that as normal because that's how you sort of grew with me up to this point. For some of you that are new and look back at old videos and stuff, there's obviously a big difference in my weight. And I'm not, yes, I am heavier now. I am. That doesn't mean that I don't work out or I don't still love my fitness nutrition. I have all the knowledge in my head. I'm just happier. And I'm 24. I'm not 17. And as much as I would say, oh, work is great. Yes, I'm naturally this size. the plain fact is, I'm not going to say I had some kind of eating disorder, because that's absolutely not the case. But what I will say was that I was definitely restricting. I would, you know, not eat all day and then have pasta or whatever in the evening and think that was normal, and it's not. And I would still go out with my friends at the weekend and I'd still eat pizza with mates and do all that kind of stuff. But the reality was my diet was pretty unhealthy. I still would exercise, and when I did eat, it would be quite carby, and it would be sort of like 1 or 2 big meals a day. It wouldn't be, you know, 3 solid meals and a couple of snacks and like healthy foods. It would be, you know, a bottle of Coke because it was caffeine, and that like, boom, kept me going. And so I moved agencies again. The relationship broke down with one of my agencies. And so I moved agencies again. And it was brilliant. It was a really positive move, but you know, going from being 18 to being in my early 20s, my body was changing, and there is nothing wrong, and I have nothing wrong with being a little heavier or a little curvier, or you know, having bigger boobs, which I do now. And some of that is due to, you know, circumstances changing. You know, you break up. I mean, me as a woman, I don't know how you guys are, but my reaction to traumas or change in my life is I will eat more, I will eat less, and sometimes I will drink more or drink less also. So that fluctuates, and I'm not, although I am pretty consistent with my exercise, I go through phases where I can be a little bit obsessive about it, and then I might not work out for like a week and a bit. So that's kind of been my pattern or behaviour. And I just found that as much as this new agency was brilliant, and I never got measured, and they were really supportive, and I got, you know, lots of lovely beauty work, because I am slightly curvier, so I'm 5'10", 5'10 and a half, and I am like a big 10 and a 12 now, UK size, which for my height is still slim, but I am bigger than I used to be. I'm not a teenager anymore, and that agency just didn't have the client base for me, and it wasn't, you know, they're looking to maybe venture into some curve stuff, but for me, I needed to be in a place where, obviously I've moved back with my parents because I've had some sort of finance issues, and I'm desperate to move in with my boyfriend, and so I'm at home living rent-free, or like paying very little, just making a contribution as I should be as a working adult, and this is where I need to be right now. And so I'd moved back home, and I kind of just thought, I need to be earning some decent money, and I don't want a job every 4 or 6 weeks. That's not good enough. I need some e-com, I need some more fashion stuff that gives me sort of my bread and butter money, so that I'm, you know, booking something every week. And so a photographer friend of mine suggested that I try Milk, because the lady who is the founder, Anna Schilling-Law, she is brilliant. So not only is she the founder of Milk, but she used to be a model herself, and she also made the move from straight size to curve. So I went and had a meeting with her, finished up with my previous agency. That finished, you know, wonderfully. No hard feelings at all, they're absolutely fantastic. And I started with Milk in August, I think, end of July, August. And it was just something where I was ending up going to castings with my previous agency, and this is no fault of anyone's other than my own and just how the industry works. I was being sent to castings where I knew there was like maybe lingerie or something like that, and I was turning up with a bunch of like 18-year-olds, being slightly older anyway than a lot of the girls that are coming in now, whereas I used to be the baby, so it's a little bit weird. And thinking, oh my god, please don't get me to try this on, please don't get me to try this on, please don't get me to try this on, because I have tits and arse now, and I'm still slim and I'm still tall, but I'm a much healthier me. And you know, I had one occasion where there were a couple of girls waiting outside. You know, as a model, you change in front of people half the time, you know, you get your boobs out on set, you've got to whip your bra off so that you don't see straps, you know, you just do, you strip off and you change, and it doesn't matter whether there's a changing area or not, and that's just kind of how it's done. So I saw this girl come out, take photos. Obviously there's a queue of other girls behind me, and it was all like lingerie stuff, and it was very tiny lingerie stuff. And as much as I'm confident with my body, even though I'm still getting used to being a little bit curvier, hence baggy jumpers and things still sometimes, I was really nervous, and it got to the point where I had anxiety about going to work, and I didn't want to in case I had to try stuff on. And this one particular time, you know, I said, you know, what size are the garments, what size are the underwear, because like I'm a D cup. And they were like, oh well, it's okay because it's lace, you know, try it on, I'm sure that it'll, you know, we can pull it one way to make it fit. And that is just the most soul crushing, awful feeling when I know that I'm going to go into that changing room hot and sweaty from travelling around on the tube, have to, you know, tear off my jeans and try and fit my D-cup boobs into these tiny little lace bras that are barely going to cover my nipple, and then walk out in front of a bunch of other models who are half my size and a bunch of clients where I don't know whether, you know, they're going to be nice about me or not. Because sometimes clients aren't, or they, you know, they just give each other a look, or they go, oh, she's a little bit bigger, isn't she? And you know, you hear it in whispers. Some clients are perfectly lovely, and that's all fine, but you don't know what you're going to get. And so it got to the point where I was just like, I don't want to do this for me anymore. So I needed to make a change. And since I have been with Milk, the problem that I have is that, let's just say, okay, I'm a 12, then, you know, I'm going into castings and I'm a little bit small because I'm not proper plus size at all. I'm what they call an in-betweenie. So I'm a little bit more normal looking, you would say. I'm still toned, I'm still tall, I'm still slim. You know, it's not like I've gained 3 stone and I'm, you know, super, super heavy or anything like that. But as far as modelling is concerned, I'm not straight size anymore. And yeah, so I needed to make the change. And so that is what I did. And now I have that other problem where I'm a little bit small, and that feels so much better knowing that I will go to castings and things will fit me and I'm not going to panic or feel embarrassed or humiliated in castings or dread having a lingerie casting or anything like that, because I know that I'm turning up as me, as I am, you know, with the full support of my agency, and everybody knows what they're getting. So that is why I made the move to become a curve model. My experience so far, obviously, August is generally like dead. So I was redoing my book, did a few nice tutorials, stuff to kind of update my book to the shape I am now, and just sort of as a refresh, which has been lovely. I've had a few jobs, I've been, you know, doing a few shoots and stuff throughout September, but again, that's Fashion Week, so that's a little bit quieter for me because I wasn't with the agency very long. I wasn't put in the show pack, even though they are sending some curve girls into shows like that. So yeah, I've worked more in the last 4 or 5 weeks than I did with my previous agency, and that's no fault of the previous agency. They just didn't have the client base for me. They had all the beauty stuff, which I can still do with Milk because they still have clients like Avon and stuff, so I'm not missing out on anything. I've just gained a whole other realm of clients. So yeah, that's kind of it really. Now obviously this is a bit of an adjustment for me as well. I'm still, you know, getting call sheets through and going, oh, it's lingerie, is it curved lingerie though? Like, I have that like little voice in my head that goes, oh, because I haven't sort of made the adjustment myself yet. And I'm not gonna lie, you know, 12 years of conditioning to be thinking, I have to be tiny, I have to be tiny, I have to be tiny, this is not gonna fit, I'm too big, my hips are always too big, I'm gonna be measured, you know, all of this kind of stuff is really difficult to let go of. And, you know, and I don't want this to offend anybody, but it's just the way that I've had to think basically the whole of my life, pretty much, since I was aware that I had a body that could be a certain size, you know, ever since I had sort of a sense of self-image because of what I do for a living. I was kind of, when I first went, oh my god, I'm a curve model, as much as I got lots of support, people going, fuck off, you're not curve, are you joking? How is that possible? And like outrage from, you know, people that I know, I almost felt a little bit embarrassed to say, oh, I'm not straight size anymore, I'm not super skinny anymore, I'm curvy and that's okay. Because in my head it wasn't quite okay yet. And I really don't want to offend anybody by saying that. I'm just being completely and utterly honest with you about my transition. You know, and I'm looking back at some of my YouTube videos, and I have on some of my Instagram things and stuff lately, and yes, I did body coach and I still kind of follow those principles, but I've been in a relationship for a year now. I'm very happy. I like the odd bottle of wine, we get takeaway, we go out for dinner, and I'm happy doing that, and I don't want to have to restrict and worry and obsess about everything I put in my mouth or everything I drink, because that's what I was doing, and it's not healthy for my headspace, particularly as someone who is like totally pro body confidence and really is very passionate about mental health and looking after yourself. It just got to the point where I was going to make myself miserable, and I didn't want to do that to myself, because not only does that cause me suffering, but it also sets a really bloody awful example to any other young women out there who might be in my industry, or, you know, have always, I'm not saying you guys do, but, you know, look up to me for maybe advice or inspiration to be a bit more confident. I don't want to lie to you. I'm never going to lie to you. And if, you know, if my opinions on things or my experience of things ever offend anyone, I'm sorry, but that's me. And I refuse to say, oh yeah, this skinny life is great and it's not a struggle and I'm naturally like this, when I wasn't, and I'm not. I was until I was about 18, and then it got really, really hard. And yeah, that's not to say that I am not pro health and fitness. I still do my food posts and stuff. I'm still an advocate of the Body Coach plan. I think it's fantastic, it does work, it leans you out. But again, with that, as much as I was really good at it for a little while, and it did work for me, absolutely it did. You guys saw how shredded I got. It gave me that pattern of thinking. This is my fault, not plans. Let me make that very clear. It gave me that sort of obsessive pattern of thinking again, where I was like, I have to work out. I felt guilty if I didn't. If I fucked up, I felt guilty. And I was like, no, we're heading in a bad direction again. And I'm not saying that, obviously I've said, but I'm making this very clear now. I did not have some kind of eating disorder. I was never as bad as that. But that's because I decided not to be. I caught it before my kind of weirdly obsessive behaviour became a real issue. And that is why I moved. So if you have any questions, then do feel free to leave them down below. I'm sorry, I keep looking at the timer because I'm not sure whether this camera's going to bloody cut out something. This has been quite a long video. But yeah, I'd also noticed that like people had noticed on Instagram and stuff like that, oh, have you gained weight, have you done this? And this is the thing, yes, it's observational, yes, it's factual, but equally, when I'm still finding my way, you know, getting rid of that sort of conditioning that I've had for over a decade now, I don't need that. You know, I've had people, not naming names, send me an image of when I was doing Body Coach or something, go, this is your best body, this is what you suit the best. And I'm like, yeah, on the outside it looks great, but on the inside I was obsessive about it, and that's not great, and it's not a good example to set for other people. So yeah, and you know, comments on videos when I was looking back as well. I mean, I was looking back at some of my first videos, I was so tiny, I look fucking ill. I look ill. I look so ill. I mean, I found an old pair of jeans that were a size 6 the other day, and they weren't the stretchy kind. And I'm like nearly 5'10" and a half. I mean, that is so utterly skeletal. I can't even, I was like, this would fit a 10-year-old girl. Do you know what I mean? It was that. So I'm not about that life, and you know, yes, I have to address the issue. Yes, I have gained weight. No, I haven't started taking the pill all of a sudden, and that's why I've got face bloat or whatever the comment was, or, but it irritates me. It's like, why do you need to ask me that. And that's also like to ask me about like what birth control and stuff I'm on is like also really personal. I don't know. You know, you know I get a bit funny about this kind of stuff. So yeah, that's why I moved. I hope that that answers all of your questions. Yes, I've gained weight. Am I happier? Yes, I am. Will I continue to look after myself? Yes, I will. Do I still hit the gym? Abso-fucking-lutely. I'm obsessed with Beachbody. I love Insanity. I love my weights. Abso-fucking-lutely. Is it a struggle sometimes? Yes. Do I drink wine? Yes, I do. Will I eat pasta? Yes. But I'm looking after myself, and I had to look after my head as well as my body, and I feel like I can do that better as a curve girl. So that was my absolutely honest to God truth of why I've done it, how it's made me feel, how I felt throughout my transition. And if you have any other questions, comments, or you need advice or anything like that, then please do feel free to leave it down below. Sorry that this was quite a long one and a little bit rambly. I hope all of it makes sense to you and that you can understand that this is definitely a positive change for me. And I will see you in the next one. If you enjoy these kinds of videos and there are topics you would like for me to talk to you about, or you have questions that you'd like me to run a video on, like if you're a teenager and you're having issues with your parents, or if you're, you know, partying too much, or you kind of, I want to be like almost like a big sister, do you know what I mean? And I feel like I have a lot to offer. Obviously I've done therapy, so I feel like I'm also someone that a lot of my friends come to for advice, and I would really like to open some important conversations or help any of you younger guys in particular out that are maybe having a little bit of a tough time or don't know how you feel about something, or I don't know. I just thought it'd be more interesting to do stuff that isn't just beauty things, because the headspace stuff and the life stuff's also equally as important as shoving some makeup on and taking care of your skin. So yeah, I will see you in the next one. Please, please, please do give it a thumbs up if you like it, and leave me a comment down below and just say hi and what you thought of it. So yeah, that's me done for today. I'm really nervous about putting this up, but as I said before, I will always, always be honest with you. So there you go. I will see you in the next one. Love you lots. Big hugs to everybody, and I will see you soon. Bye.